Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to take a look back at the Resident Evil 2 remake and discuss the game as a whole and take a look at how it holds up in 2026 following the release of Resident Evil Requiem. Now for me, Resident Evil 2 is a nearly perfect game. I bought this game on release back in 2019 and I have put well over 100 hours on the PlayStation and nearly 30 more on Steam. While I adore this game and I find it extremely fun and well done, I do have my gripes with the game, and I would like to be a little more critical with this one than I was with Requiem. Of course, this video is going to contain full spoilers for Resident Evil 2 and some minor spoilers for Requiem, so if you haven't played either of these games and you don't want anything spoiled, I suggest you leave, go grab a copy and play them, and then return. Anywho, Resident Evil 2 starts with Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield arriving just outside of Raccoon City at a gas station during the Raccoon City incident. After finding out that a zombie outbreak has taken over the city, Leon and Claire make their way deeper into the city to try to find safety at the Raccoon City Police Department, where they are split up, forced to meet each other throughout the RPD and find a way out, trying to help any survivors they encounter on the way. Resident Evil 2 actually features two campaigns, sort of. The canonical story as of Requiem is that Leon for the first run and Claire for the second run. Now in my footage I actually played the opposite, but it doesn't matter. It's pretty much the same thing either way. Now while it's technically two campaigns, there's a catch, like I said. See, both sides of the story have you making your way through most of the same areas. You complete the same puzzles, even fight some of the same bosses. And while there are unique bosses to fight throughout each campaign that kind of make the difference worth it, the fact that over half of them are the exact same as the other campaign you just played just doesn't really make sense canonically. For my playthrough, for example, I fought Birkin during his first fight and then later fought him again by the garbage disposal where Sherry was trapped inside of it. On my second run, I fought Birkin at the exact same spot and then fought him again at the exact same spot at the garbage disposal, only this time Ada was inside of it, not Sherry. This is just one example of the poor continuity between runs. But on the flip side, there are unique areas and unique bosses in both runs, like the orphanage and the chief's office, most of the parking garage in Leon's run, and the final bosses at the end of the game kind of differ depending on who you're playing as. And upon completing your second run, there's a semi-secret final boss fight that happens on the train as they are escaping past. Pretty satisfying conclusion to William Birkin and the story as a whole, but I do think it could have been done better. I thoroughly enjoyed both of my runs as Claire and Leon, and each was fun and offered their own unique twists on the story and gameplay, but I do wish that it had been a little more in-depth. I just wish that there were more unique bosses or maybe even extra areas or something like the zapping mechanic from the original Resident Evil 2. The zapping mechanic is where you could leave items or pick them up in your first run, and then on your second run they were either there or gone depending on whether or not you used them, kind of adding to the difficulty of the game and the replayability as well. Overall, I think this game was enjoyable from start to finish. Obviously, I've been playing it several times since its release. I go back usually once a year and replay it. Overall, I think this game was enjoyable from start to finish, and upon completing the second run, you unlock the bonus mode, the Fourth Survivor, a horde escape-like mode that sees you playing as the iconic Hunk, human unit never killed, making your way through the sewers at the bottom of the map all the way to the exit at the RPD in a frantic fight for survival and extraction. The mode is short and sweet, but surprisingly fun and enjoyable, adding to a refreshing mix to the gameplay. Upon completing this mode, you get to unlock the Tofu Survivor, which adds just even more replayability and depth to the game. It's a very fun little secretive side piece of content that's there. There's also several DLC modes that are what-if scenarios featuring characters who died or were dead through the main story, similar to the Fourth Survivor. Let's talk about the story and our two protagonists, Leon and Claire, and in my playthrough, Claire arrives at the gas station just outside of Raccoon City She is traveling to Raccoon City looking for Chris Redfield, her brother, a STARS agent for the RPD and one of the protagonists of Resident Evil 1. He's been missing since the Spencer Mansion incident, and she's curious to figure out what's going on. Entering the gas station, she finds a man bleeding and a T-virus infected zombie eating a body in the back room. She runs for her life only to find none other than the internet's sexiest man, Leon S. Kennedy, who saves Claire, and they both drive off into Raccoon City. After arriving, a gas tanker crashes next to them and explodes, causing both of them to find different ways to the RPD, splitting up. Upon arriving at RPD, Claire finds it overrun by the infected and is quickly saved by Lieutenant Marvin Branagh, a man who was bitten, who explains to her what is happening and gives her a knife. Claire and Marvin begin to work together to find a secret way out. Claire makes her way through the RPD with Marvin on comms, solving puzzles, finding various items, and slowly making her way through the maze-like halls of RPD. Solving the puzzles and opening the passage, Claire leaves Marvin behind as his injuries are too severe. She makes her way through the RPD where she encounters a little girl, Sherry Birkin, who appears later in the series as well. She fights off a severely mutated William Birkin, Sherry's father. Surviving that fight, and seemingly killing Dr. Birkin, Claire and Sherry make their way to the parking garage where Police Chief Irons confronts them and abducts Sherry. Claire, in pursuit, travels through the RPD and then past Kendo's gun store to the Raccoon City orphanage where Sherry is able to escape and Chief Irons is killed by none other than William Birkin. Claire then fights her way through the sewers, narrowly surviving the horrors within and eventually finding herself inside of Nest, a secret umbrella facility underneath the RPD. Inside Nest, Claire finds Sherry and meets Annette Birkin, William's wife, and Sherry's mother. It is revealed that after the T-virus outbreak, Umbrella sent a squad to capture William and take the G-virus, William's creation, back into custody. During the raid, the squad opened fires on William, mag dumping him, and William injects himself with the G-virus, eventually mutating into the monster that we've been fighting throughout the game. Finding out Sherry is infected, she makes her way through Nest, fighting off various threats as she looks for the antiviral agent to save Sherry. Fighting with William several more times, she finds the antiviral, saves Sherry, and is able to escape through the emergency exit elevator and tram before the facility self-destructs. Going way back to where Claire and Leon were separated, Leon makes his way to RPD. Finding Claire as she makes her way through the building, he eventually finds his own way in, makes his way around the RPD when he's ambushed by Mr. X, a Tyrant-class bioweapon. Now, Mr. X does feature in both campaigns, but he shows up a lot quicker in the second run. Mr. X begins to pursue him through the building. He is an unkillable pursuer, attacking Leon and constantly hunting him through the halls. Never ceasing in his pursuit, you can hear his footsteps as he tracks you from a floor above, or you'll run into a room like the library, for example, and he'll come in. Mr. X is a great enemy, and not only is he iconic in his own right, I think he is one of the most well-done pursuer-type enemies in any game. He really is intimidating as he stalks you. You can hear, like I said, you can hear his footsteps in the distance, and if you make too much noise or just blindly run through the RPD, he's bound to find you and give you a run for your money. Mr. X is pretty cool. He is up there as top 3 pursuer enemies in the Resident Evil series. Now, Leon eventually escapes Mr. X, makes his way through the same secret passage as Claire, where he again fights Birkin and makes his way down into the basement and parking garage. Here he meets Ada Wong, a woman claiming to be FBI. He has to fight his way through the basement and unlock all the cells to get the parking garage key, and eventually makes his way out of the RPD and into the sewers, where he faces off with various enemies like the mutated alligator, Birkin again, and other horrors hiding in the wet tunnels below the city. Now, for me, I hate sewer levels in horror games, especially zombie games. I feel like everything about them just sucks. All of them have it. It's just the worst part of the game we gotta get through, and well, these sewers are done really well, but I feel like they drag on for a little too long. I mean, I don't think we need 2 hours in the first run dedicated to the sewers because you keep getting lost and don't know where you're going. Now maybe that's just my own stupidity and you guys found it easier, but for me personally, I just really hate the sewers. Now, at the end of this, you get to play as Ada a little bit, where you find out that she's actually there to take the T-Virus. You have another boss fight with Birkin. Leon, helping Ada along the way, finds out that Ada's actually trying to secure a sample of the T-Virus for herself to sell on some black market where she presumably dies and the virus is destroyed. Leon manages to also make his way through Nest, fighting off against Mr. X and securing his way through the same exit as Claire and Sherry before the facility explodes. He makes his way to the tram, where he finally reunites with Claire and Sherry, only for a monstrously mutated Birkin to attack the train. Leon fights off Birkin, finally killing him, and Leon, Claire, and Sherry escape Raccoon City, walking off into the sunrise as they discuss what is to come. Now, as I said before, I wish there was more variety to the two different runs. A lot of what you see in both of them is overlap, but I mean, it is enjoyable for what it is. The best part of this game, however, is arguably the RPD and Mr. X. The iconic location that is a maze of the RPD is just simply incredible. Every room, hallway, and floor, it serves a purpose and leaves you just fulfilled. The level design is very well put together as you start to track where things are and how to get to different areas. You slowly unlock shortcuts and find safe rooms across the RPD. It really is just integral to what Resident Evil 2 is, and amazing to see how well done it has been. Each and every part of the RPD is just great. Level of detail in the environment, environmental storytelling. The RPD is forever going to be a classic Resident Evil location. Hearing the loud footsteps above you as you sneak past lickers next to you in a hallway full of undead will always just be terrifyingly fun in this maze that is the RPD. The enemies in this game are also great and have a decent amount of variety. You have your standard zombies, but then you also have lickers, Mr. X, zombie dogs, plant zombies, and various bosses you fight throughout the story. Each phase of both Mr. X and Dr. Birkin is truly horrifying and unique, just disgusting, though a little overdone on the eyeballs, as is every Resident Evil. Each fight with them offers different ways to fight them, from using the environment to fighting head-on and eventually brute forcing your way through the fights with miniguns and rocket launchers. Each boss fight was great, even if by the end of the second run they were a little repetitive, as like I said, we have a lot of overlap. Overall, Resident Evil 2 Remake will live on as a testament to what the remakes should be and what any remake should be. While it's not perfect, it's definitely a love letter to the original, and it's a great entry that holds up in the modern era, even all the way now in 2026. I think it's going to be fondly looked back on for years to come, especially with how popular Resident Evil has been lately. There isn't much else I can say about this game that other people haven't, especially now, all this time later. I mean, my channel's pretty new, and a lot of what I know of Resident Evil 2 comes from the community itself and my experience with it, and so there's so much more information out there you guys could go look at for this game if you're really curious for more or anything more in-depth. Yeah, I really think it's worth your time in 2026 and any time after. It's definitely a great game. For newcomers of the series, this is probably your best starting point. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't start with Requiem. As good as it is, there's just so much callback to the earlier points in the series, like 2 or 3, and even 4, 7, and 8, and a little bit to 5 and 6. So, with what Requiem is as a culmination of what Resident Evil has grown into, I think Resident Evil 2 is a better starting point for you, as it's a little more simple, and like I said before, it's just iconic in its own right. This is nearly the start of it all, not quite, with Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil taking place before Resident Evil 2, but the Raccoon City incident is a great place to dive into this series. I think that's all I have on Resident Evil 2 for now, and it's really fun getting to experience this game after not playing it for a year or so. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this inspires you to go back and play Resident Evil 2. Keep me updated in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see or anything like that. I've got more ideas coming, so thank you. Feel free to like and subscribe, and until next time.